I mean, I think one of the interesting things about proprietary estoppel is that the promise-based strand, one of the three strands that I identify, has developed very rapidly over the last 50 or so years, and that development has been headed almost entirely by the judges. The judges have developed those rules. And I think the interesting question there is how that promise-based strand will develop. And one of the particularly important questions is whether that strand could apply beyond its current context, which is promises that relate to land or possibly other forms of property, and whether it could apply more generally. So, for example, not a promise that you'll give someone a right in land, but a promise that you'll perform a service for someone, or a promise that you'll give them some other form of right. And I think that the logic of the principle, once you examine these cases, is such that it ought to be capable of applying more broadly, and that's certainly been recognised in some other common law jurisdictions, such as in the United States and in Australia. And so it'll be interesting to see how the principle develops in England. But I think one reason judges are reluctant to do that is that proprietary estoppel traditionally has been associated with quite general abstract notions of fairness and unconscionability, and judges are rightly reluctant to apply such broad concepts in commercial contexts, for example, or more generally. But I think one of the things I tried to do in the book is to sort of pin down this promise-based strand of proprietary estoppel and provide some specific tests that can be used. And I think once those tests are in place, those fears about its expansion would then recede, and we might see a more principled result, which I think is for that doctrine to apply more generally. So that could be one way that it might develop in the future.